Greetings. Wishing well for all of you. Um, Start over. Greetings. I'm wishing well for all of you. Again, my name is Kasabez Makma. Welcome to the Black Present. In case you're new to this series, when I say Black Present, what I'm talking about is the Black civilization today, our heritage now. Black civilization is great right now. We like to talk about how we come from kings and queens, how we have a great history, and this is true. But don't forget that we have a black present to be proud of, a black civilization to be proud of, to connect with, to be a part of. Before I get started talking about our topic today, I did want to mention that our website, the onepeopleproject.org, one as in O-N-E, peopleproject.org, is back up and running. So please go visit. You can see all our content there. Support us. Check our documentaries out and all of our short videos, blogs, podcasts, memes, photos, everything we have on there. It's a lot of content, and it's being updated almost, well, let's say every other day or so. So yeah, please check us out. I hope you like what you see, and I hope you subscribe to our newsletter so you can get updates from us frequently. So today I want to talk about really the man who inspired me to do this project, to do this One People project, the one who really connected me with this whole Black present idea. Because before I met this man, it was around the time I was first learning about Africa. But when I was first learning about Africa, I was learning about Africa in the context of the history. I didn't know that all of the great things that our ancestors did, that all of that had been preserved. And so it was a great honor for me to be a student, an initiate under Master Naba Lamoussa Morodenibig, and I wanted to talk a little bit about him today and about really the impact he had on my life, but also the importance of just having a spiritual master in your life. The word master has a context, a connotation that is hard to shake here in the modern world, or especially in the United States. The legacy, the imprint that the slave trade, that the slavery that was done to our ancestors here in the United States is so, it's so big. It was such a bad time in history that anything that reminds us of it, it's like it's hard to deal with. It's hard to cope with. So when we say the word master, it's hard not to think about slave master, and for good reason. It's certain tastes in your mouth is hard to get rid of, and for that reason, it's just hard to take a term like that and kind of accept it at face value. Master, not a slave master, but a master. What is it? What is a master for? So, I didn't grow up with a master. I didn't grow up with somebody, even understanding the importance of a master, having a master, and what a master is supposed to be. So, like most of us, thinking I'm grown at 18, I went off on my own and made a bunch of dumb mistakes, and came back to my parents with my tail between my legs a couple of years later. Um, 18 years old, we tend to think that we know more than we do. Then 10, 15 years down the line, we realize looking back, like, wow, that 18-year-old was really a kid, you know. Uh, but if we can, let's say at 18, we can be mistaken about our own ability to make good judgment calls in our lives, you know, it doesn't stop at 18 years old. We can make bad decisions anytime. We can make, you know, we can have misperceptions or misconceptions about reality, about our lives, about what we should do anytime. The purpose of the spiritual master is to have a guide for you in your life. And when I say spiritual, it's spiritual because it's not just a master for, just anything. You can have a master to teach you anything, but the spiritual master is the one who teaches you to take care of your spirit. It's someone who's teaching you so that you will have, to teach you what you will need to know, not only for this life, but what you do in this life that's going to benefit you, or things not to do that will be detrimental to you after this life. And so that's the difference. But the spiritual master is a master for your life. It's a master for how to conduct yourself in your life in order to, to keep that afterlife in mind. Nowadays, when we have teachers, when we consider education, we think about what we would call training, what you would call like the how to do certain things that you may want to do in your life, which is good. You need to have skills, you need to have abilities, you need to have talents. But it's important to have some guidance for just generally day-to-day functioning. How to control your thoughts, your emotions, your attitudes, how you react to things in your world, how to think about and process everything that's going on around us. There's a lot involved, and without any guidance, it's very easy to get sucked up into the frenzy of whatever moment, whatever everyone around us is doing, whatever everyone's talking about on Facebook today or YouTube today or whatever. And it's easy to get caught up into that if you don't have something to anchor you somewhere where you don't want to stray too far to the left or to the right of this path that you're on. If you don't have that, you can literally be led in any direction. So the spiritual master, the spiritual guide, whatever you want to call it, the guru, etc., has that function to take responsibility to, guide you in a direction that's going to be to your benefit. And so I was lucky enough to have one of the great masters, I would say, in human history, and particularly in recent history, to be able to study under him, to learn from him. Again, Master Naba Lamoussa Morodenibig. Also, the title that we called him was Makaru, which means it's a hieroglyphic or a Medu word for truth teller. And just in honoring him, in remembrance of him, I just wanted to mention, that title. It spoke so much about his role in my life. He was the one to tell the truth. And as we say, we even have this saying here, the truth hurts. The truth, a lot of times we don't really want to know. Like emotionally, it's difficult to deal with. We find ourselves in situations of trying to fight it, trying to deny it, and when you're doing wrong, when you're wrong, someone points it out to you. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling to be wrong, and so to have someone point it out to you and point it out to you in a way that compels you to feel like, man, I really need to change. what I'm doing. Uh, that starts with a feeling that's very unpleasant. And it has to be unpleasant enough to really compel you to say, man, I just can't do that again. I can't do this anymore. But now for the person who's bringing that truth to you, what will you feel about that person? You feel like, man, running away from them. You feel like maybe even fighting that person. You'll feel mad or upset or offended or whatever. Maybe you'll even feel like the person hurts you or hates you. So the person to tell you that truth is putting themselves in an uncomfortable position too. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to be the one who someone else is gonna blame for how they feel when they're feeling bad. And they're gonna be looking at you. You're the reason I feel this way. You know. I'm bringing this up because nowadays we have people who are like we have different titles, a guru or a life coach or um, spiritual guide or whatever. A lot of different people out here. I think the word now going around is influencers, people who are influencers. Not necessarily for some brand, but even just for their own, whatever motives they have. I don't know. But the tendency I see nowadays is for people to sugarcoat whatever they'll tell you so that you can still listen to it and still at the same time feel good about yourself. Um, but the person who makes you feel good about yourself, it's not as, if you feel good about yourself, it's not as, you're not feeling like you need to change something urgently, or if you feel like you have some motivation to change something, uh, you know, it's just difficult to have that motivation. I was just watching the NBA playoffs. Let me give an example. There was two game sevens today. Two teams got eliminated from the playoffs today, and both of those teams, um, their reaction, their players were hurt. Some of them crying. And the coaches were saying, that bad feeling is going to fuel them in the future. That bad feeling is going to make them take things more seriously in the future. Going to make sure that they don't have this feeling again in the future. And so, from the coach perspective, it's like, well, sorry we lost. You don't want to lose. But when you lose, it's like, well, you have to take that feeling and, deal with it and let it fuel you so that next time you'll do things differently. Now, if we're losing in life and someone is giving us a message with honey on it, make us almost feel like our loss is okay. Make us feel like the lack we had was okay, that we can be satisfied with it. What's the motivation then in the future to get up and do better than we did? It won't feel as urgent, right? It won't. So the one who will give you the message with honey on it, understand that message is not, and maybe, some of you I'm talking about, you're listening right now. Understand to the person who's listening, that message is not as helpful for them. But for the one who's influencing, it's better to dip the message in honey because that message will make it easier for you as the one who's influencing. Because you don't want people mad at you. You know, you don't want people cursing you, blaming you for how they feel. But understand that the benefit for the person who you're trying to guide is not going to be as strong as the person who told the truth. And so I appreciate Master Naba. I appreciate the Makaru for coming and doing that for me and for others. Because he didn't have to. I mean, he could have been more comfortable in his bush somewhere. He had to come here and put up with a lot of suffering, a lot of disrespect, because people here don't know how to accept the truth. They don't know how to accept someone coming and telling them what they don't want to hear. Because if we wanted to hear it, if we really wanted change, maybe we'd be functioning differently than how we're functioning here, and this get off of the self-destructive path that we're on. Let's be real. So it's hard to hear a message of truth. It's hard. And so, understand him coming here he's not coming here for any other reason. He's not motivated by fame. He's not motivated by wealth. He wasn't motivated by, having people like him. If so, he could have done things a lot differently. Maybe still been alive today. I don't know, it's speculation, but you can set yourself up to live comfortably. And someone with his knowledge certainly would have been able to do that. But what he did, he built it in such a way that now he's passed away, and now 10 years, 12 years later, we're still functioning, we're still growing, and we're still using what he taught us to improve. We're still building from that. So he was able to build something sustainable. And I can never doubt the value of it. For what has been in my life, it's brought me stability, it's brought me clarity of mind, it's brought me confidence in myself based on seeing the results of my actions, the actions of my thought that come from my thought process. That is what he taught me. So, again, thanks again for the Makaru. Again, I wanted to talk about this before I get too much into some of the other subject matter we'll get into, but in the upcoming weeks, I'm excited about the different places our conversations will go. But in the meantime, check out more of our content on the website. Again, One People, that's ONE, People Project.org. And the first documentary that I produced, I wanted to honor Master Naba first, and let everybody know where all of this is coming from. So that is the premiere of the One People documentary series. The first one is available on my website. You can check it out, onepeopleproject.org. And the documentary is called Legacy of a Prophet, because we really consider him to be a prophet for all that he brought humanity. And for more about his mission, for more about all the great things that he brought humanity, check out the earthcenter.org. The Earth Center, of course, is the organization that he founded to bring this mission forth into the belly of the beast, as we say, to rescue us descendants of those enslaved human beings. And so we now have that opportunity to get back to our roots. I say we don't have anything to lose. Check out the earthcenter.org. The Earth Center is in 9 cities worldwide now. If you're interested, we have publications, we have herbal medicines, we do spiritual readings, we do classes, and there's a lot of publications, materials. We have the original Code of Human Behavior and the original Calendar of Humanity, as well as different books, magazines, newspapers, lectures on CD and DVD. All of this through the Earth Center. So check out the earthcenter.org for more on that as well. Please, uh, don't just take my word, um, but see it for yourself. Thanks again for watching. Again, this has been The Black Present, and I'm signing off. Peace.